Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple One. Welcome to the insane loony bin, because that's what it is. Article from the Gateway Pundit says, Massachusetts governor calls on residents to house illegal aliens in their guest room. So right now this is totally volunteer. You can ask to get a family and bring them in. More that I look into this is definitely a program started to help homeless people, but it is definitely geared right now totally towards the migrants and housing the illegals that are coming across the border. This is called a host family strategies being put in place to combat the growing homeless population, many of whom are not citizens. This has been previously been a practice among resettlement agencies and other volunteers who work to support new arrivals. And this was by this press secretary said this. The governor of Massachusetts is a Democrat. They opened a center in late June, and it remains unclear how many immigrants have been placed in people's homes. That they won't tell us. They also don't tell you the vetting process, and they also won't tell if they have found people that were not or were vetted and they were, proved to be not able to be placed in someone's house. Were they a criminal? Were they mentally ill? I don't know. They're not telling us. Also, I think that Massachusetts recently took 50 National Guard guys and gals to help new arrivals into the country. So we're on the cusp of World War III. We're bringing people in. We're using National Guard guys and gals to process them to get them settled. You can, if you looked up insanity, it would definitely, this would be part of the definition. So right now, it's totally volunteer. I think Matt Bracken wrote a book where it wasn't volunteer. People would be forced to pay higher taxes, or they would have to house people in their house, double up, triple up. I didn't read his book, but I saw a small section about this being talked about a few weeks ago on the internet. We know that a long-term shelter and permanent housing would be better to meet the stability, safety, and service needs of these new arriving immigrants. It looks like immigrants are going to cost this state alone $139 million. The crazy thing is, why haven't they started a program like this for vets? Homeless vets, at least homeless vets, most of them, 99.999% of them would speak English, where these migrants probably do not speak English. I was at the bank yesterday, and a person came in, could not speak any English, and was trying to talk. At that point, it was only a few people in the bank that were working there. None of them spoke Spanish. So they had to get an interpreter for this person. This person is probably illegal, but I don't know for sure. So it's going to cost the bank money to have an interpreter. They were going to use a phone service and conduct the business that way. The article goes on and on. It says the increase in immigration is unfortunately driven by the federal government's inability to address our country's immigration challenges. The federal government is asking for this. They have opened the borders. They can close this up right now, close the border, seal it tight, and we wouldn't have this problem. Then we could concentrate on taking care of Americans. Or at least the illegals that are here, we'd have a better chance to take care of them. Or we could put them on a bus and send them back to where they came from and ask them to follow the law and legally put the paperwork in their country to get into the United States. I'm not totally against immigration. I'm against illegal immigration. My questions are, has the governor said, hey, I got a big governor's mansion. I can take 4 or 5 families. I'd love to see that happen. What about if somebody gets in your house and then Massachusetts law says they're technically a tenant or a renter, or that's where they live, and they decide, hey, I don't want to leave. Will you have to evict them and go through the proper paperwork and the proper hassle? You can look at many countries that have brought in immigration. Look at Europe, look at France, look at everywhere over there. People that come over there have not assimilated. They are definitely mooching off the system. And the funny thing is, if you look in the Middle East, all of the other countries, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and you can go on and on, the Muslims or immigrants from those countries are not flocking to those Muslim countries. They're flocking to where they know they're going to get the most support financially, and that is Europe. Europe is in a problem right now. Could have a civil war in that country. If anything flares up in the world crazy, they're going to have their hands full putting down any type of riots, any type of civil war, because there's just too many in there, and they have not assimilated at all. So, insanity is widespread now. Just having this program, the borders need to be shut. We need to have a process where they can come in legally. I'm not against people coming to this country at all. I'm not against having host families. Get them started, help them out. That's not an issue. The problem is the federal government is broke. The federal government is creating this problem. If you look at the crime rates with some of these people that come across here illegally, they're unbelievable. Crimes are being committed. Now, I'm not saying all illegals come across the border to do crime. Absolutely not. Some come across to better themselves, and I understand that. But we need to know. We need to make sure we don't have child molesters. We need to know we have no robbers, murderers, and everything else coming across that border. Some countries empty their prison out, and they'll probably push them to the United States. So, I hope you're prepping. I hope you're preparing, because things are going to get worse. When you have the insanity and the policies in the federal government, the state government, and even local government that are contradictory to law of order, to peace and tranquility, we're going to have chaos. Thanks for watching.